I saw Stephen A. Smith kind of talking shit.
I done told y'all that this is a shakedown of the highest order. And to be frank with you, I think that the entire legal team, what is his name, Busby? I think that they all need to be investigated.
What is you doing, Unc? You ain't got no business out here with no 20-year-old white girl.
The sports world is holding its breath as a Hall of Famer's carefully crafted empire faces its biggest threat yet. Shannon Sharpe, the NFL legend turned broadcasting megastar, finds himself entangled in a legal firestorm that just exploded into public view. What started as a serious behind-the-scenes accusation has morphed into an all-out war, fought not just in court filings but on courthouse steps and across every corner of the internet. The stakes couldn't be higher, with a celebrated reputation, a multi-million-dollar brand, and potentially years of career momentum hanging precariously in the balance. How did we get here, and what shocking twists lie ahead in this high-stakes saga?
I'm letting the successful black men out there know that they are coming through you, through your
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you got freaky better.
Because this is freaky.
Yeah, we've seen it.
Yeah, Michelle told us.
She said it. Yeah.
Michelle told us that he was freaky.
The first tremors were felt late last year when a civil lawsuit quietly surfaced. A woman, initially identified only by initials to protect her privacy, brought forward deeply disturbing claims against Sharpe. The filing detailed alleged events during a brief relationship in 2023 centering on a night in Miami. It described a pattern of alleged intimidation and emotional trauma, culminating in accusations of coercive behavior that she classified as SA. At the time, Sharpe's team issued strong denials, dismissing the claims as baseless and hinting at ulterior motives, but the gravity of the allegations immediately cast a shadow over the celebrated analyst. This wasn't just a minor dispute, it was a claim that struck at the core of character and conduct.
This is all being orchestrated by Tony Busby, who has targeted Jay-Z. Tony Busby targets black men, and I believe he's going to release a 30-second clip of a sex tape that tries to make me look guilty.
But Sharpe wasn't just preparing a defense, he was planning a counter-offensive, and it arrived with thunderous force. In a move that stunned legal observers, his lawyers recently filed a massive 64-page response that completely flipped the script. This wasn't merely a denial of wrongdoing, it was a declaration of war. The countersuit accused the plaintiff of orchestrating an elaborate scheme designed purely for financial gain. It alleged extortion, claiming she demanded a staggering 7-figure sum to keep quiet before taking her story public. Sharpe's filing didn't stop there, further accusing her of defamation and intentionally inflicting emotional distress, painting her as the aggressor who allegedly leaked manipulated text messages and strategically edited security footage to bloggers, all to fabricate a damaging narrative. Sharpe is now seeking damages far exceeding her initial claim, signaling he intends to fight tooth and nail not just to clear his name, but to punish his accuser. This aggressive strategy immediately escalated the conflict from a serious legal dispute to a potentially reputation-shattering showdown. But that wasn't the end of the public drama. The plaintiff was about to fire back.
I do agree that this is a shakedown. I do agree that Shannon is being targeted, but you can't shake down nobody if they don't give you nothing to shake.
Just days after Sharpe's explosive countersuit hit the docket, the accuser made her own audacious move, taking the fight directly to the public square. Flanked by attorneys and a crisis manager, she walked directly into a media scrum waiting outside the Fulton County Courthouse. In a measured but forceful statement lasting nearly 6 minutes, she directly addressed the cameras and, by extension, Sharpe's damning claims. She flatly denied ever demanding hush money, insisted that raw, unadulterated phone data would corroborate her version of events, and then threw down a gauntlet. She challenged Sharpe to release the full, unedited security footage his own team had referenced in their filings. "I will not be silenced," she declared, staring defiantly into the news feeds, unwilling to let the countersuit be the final word. Meanwhile, inside the courthouse, the legal gears were already grinding. A judge held a pre-trial conference, setting an expedited discovery schedule, demanding digital records be exchanged within just 30 days and scheduling depositions for early July. The battle for evidence was officially underway, promising a swift and intense examination of private communications and movements that could make or break the case. And what happened next would open the floodgates.
What you think she was gonna do? She charging $25K a cheat, and it ain't no cheats. No cheeks and she ain't got no lips. She probably whistle when she talk.
Crucially, in that same crucial conference, the judge delivered a potentially game-changing ruling that sent shockwaves through both legal camps. Sharpe's request for a protective order, which would have effectively sealed most sensitive evidence from public view, was denied. This single decision flung the doors wide open. Now, potentially damaging details, private text chains revealing rideshare logs, hotel key swipes, tracking movements, potentially embarrassing or incriminating surveillance footage could leak into the public domain as the case progresses. This lack of a protective shield dramatically raises the stakes, turning the discovery process into a potential minefield where any misstep could be amplified globally. Proving claims now hinges not just on courtroom arguments, but on navigating a treacherous digital battlefield where authenticity itself is constantly under attack. We've already seen glimpses of this chaos. A doctored video clip, falsely claiming to be the critical Miami hotel footage, briefly went viral on TikTok before being debunked by forensic analysts. It demonstrated how easily misinformation can contaminate the narrative and potentially influence public perception long before any jury hears testimony. The fight over the real evidence. Raw metadata, deleted messages recovered from devices, precise geolocation pings, will be fierce. As tech experts suggest, these digital breadcrumbs often become the critical Rosetta Stone needed to unlock the truth in complex modern disputes.
Shannon is 56 years old. There is absolutely no reason for a 56-year-old man, 54-year-old man at the time, to be hollering at a 19-year-old.
The shockwaves from this escalating legal war are already rattling the foundations of Sharpe's carefully constructed professional world. ESPN, home to his high-profile, high-energy role on First Take alongside Stephen A. Smith, reportedly held emergency calls involving Sharpe's representatives and Disney's top compliance counsel. While the network hasn't commented publicly, the internal pressure is undoubtedly immense. Advertisers, the lifeblood of Sharpe's lucrative brand ecosystem, are watching nervously, their cautious statements speaking volumes. A major athletic apparel company acknowledged ongoing monitoring of the situation. A wellness supplement brand went a step further, quietly pulling its pre-roll ads from Sharpe's popular YouTube channel, citing a vague content realignment, a move potentially costing 6 figures in quarterly revenue alone. Beverage giant Vault Hydration issued a similarly guarded statement about monitoring the litigation, often corporate code for hitting the pause button on campaigns. Adding to the pressure, a sneaker brand reportedly set to release a limited edition Club Shea trainer collaboration is now weighing a quiet postponement. Fox Sports panelists, Sharpe's competitors, are openly debating whether he can realistically stay on air if damaging information emerges during depositions, even in the absence of criminal charges. Financial analysts crunching the numbers estimate Sharpe's personal brand value sits around a hefty $22 million across TV, podcasting, and endorsements, but issue a stark warning. A protracted, ugly legal battle could slash that figure by up to 40% if sponsors continue to hesitate or fully pull back. The question hanging heavy in the air is whether Sharpe's undeniable on-air charisma and loyal fan base can shield him from the storm-gathering force off camera.
Why are you even hooking up with OnlyFans girls outside of the fact that they're so fucking hot? It's unbelievable.
And that's what I mean. That's what I'm talking about when I'm saying. That's what I'm talking about.
Stupid.
But that's what I'm
how
talking
could
about.
they be so stupid to have sex with a girl on OnlyFans besides the fact that they're so smoking hot gorgeous?
This explosive situation has inevitably carved sharp lines in the sand, dividing public opinion and sparking debate within the sports industry itself. A recent flash poll indicated a significant split right down the middle. 46% of respondents felt Sharpe should step away from his on-air duties until the civil matter concludes, while 31% supported him remaining on air, citing the crucial principle of presumption of innocence until proven otherwise, with the remainder undecided. This stark division plays out daily in fiery comment sections and passionate fan arguments across social media platforms, often fueled by selectively leaked screenshots purporting to prove either consensual interaction or frantic distress, depending on which side is sharing. Advocacy groups have also mobilized, amplifying the polarization. The Atlanta branch of Stand Strong held candlelight vigils, calling for ESPN and other media entities to prioritize survivor voices, while a counter-coalition of former athletes launched the #ProtectOricons campaign, arguing that high-profile figures, particularly successful black men, are increasingly targeted by opportunistic lawsuits seeking payouts. This polarization highlights the complex cultural fault lines the case traverses. Issues of race, celebrity, wealth, accountability, and the profound gravity of SA allegations all intersect here, creating a volatile mix. Even the powerful NFL Players Association is monitoring developments closely, recognizing the potential impact this case could have on future personal conduct clauses in media contracts signed by retired players transitioning into broadcasting careers. Within the black sports media community specifically, the debate carries added nuance, wrestling with deeply felt concerns about potentially disproportionate scrutiny faced by black public figures versus the universal, unwavering need for accountability when serious accusations arise, regardless of status or race.
Also, if you
by the way,
if you hook up with a girl on OnlyFans, it's guaranteed this is going to happen. This is a 99% chance this will happen.
Absolutely. But how green is Shannon Sharpe?
Looking beyond the immediate headlines, the legal path forward is fraught with peril and complexity for everyone involved. Sharpe's aggressive countersuit strategy, while potentially intimidating, carries significant risks. To win on his defamation claim, his legal team faces the high bar of proving the accuser's statements were not only demonstrably false, but were made with actual malicious intent specifically to harm his reputation. Pursuing this claim legally forces Sharpe to potentially open up vast swaths of his private life to intense, uncomfortable scrutiny under oath during depositions, a process designed to uncover relevant truths, however damaging they might be. Veteran trial lawyers describe this fight fire with fire approach as a high-stakes gamble, betting that complete transparency will ultimately vindicate him. However, they caution that transparency is a double-edged sword. If the discovery process unearths even one corroborated detail lending credence to the accuser's narrative of coercion or manipulation, the resulting financial and reputational damage could dwarf any harm already done. Adding another layer of complexity is Sharpe's own history. Though serious stalking allegations brought against him back in 2010 were ultimately dismissed, critics point to that episode as evidence he understands how quickly public perception can turn, while supporters might see it as proof he can successfully weather such storms. Furthermore, the specific legal framework in Georgia, which uses a modified comparative fault standard, means juries must assign a percentage of blame. If the accuser is found even partially responsible for the situation or its escalation, it could significantly impact any potential damages awarded.
If the former football star would proceed with legal action if the accuser were to drop her lawsuit, and Sharpe's attorney says he does not know what Sharpe would do in that scenario, but says his recommendation would be to move forward.
And hovering in the background are intricate insurance questions. Personal umbrella liability policies often contain exclusions for intentional misconduct, particularly related to intimate encounters. This could mean that even if Sharpe is insured, a finding against him based on the SA claim could lead the insurer to deny payout, potentially exposing his personal assets. On the other side of the aisle, the revelation that the accuser's legal costs are being partly covered by a third-party litigation funding group adds another dimension, inevitably raising questions about potential profit motives influencing the pursuit and continuation of the case. Interestingly, amidst all this turmoil, Sharpe's popular Club Shay Shay podcast reportedly saw a small download bump, perhaps proving the old adage that controversy attracts clicks. Yet that same data showed a noticeable dip in female listenership, illustrating the complex double-edged sword where scandal boosts overall numbers but can simultaneously alienate crucial demographics, a nuance advertisers watch very closely.
Sharpe's attorney says his client's accuser is making, quote, a maliciously false claim, and Sharpe's attorney is promising a lawsuit to, quote, hold her accountable.
As this intense legal and public relations battle escalates, both sides are maneuvering with extreme caution, acutely aware that every statement, every filing, every public appearance is under a microscope. Shannon Sharpe maintains his confident, almost defiant on-air persona, even dropping cryptic lines like "pressure makes diamonds," while behind the scenes his team executes a multi-pronged PR strategy, highlighting recent charitable donations to soften his image while simultaneously flooding social media timelines with his expert sports analysis, a constant reminder to fans and networks of the value he brings. Concurrently, they're fighting fiercely in court for the legal right to release certain pieces of evidence publicly, hoping to counter the damaging narrative taking hold against him. The accuser's team, meanwhile, is assembling its own coalition of experts, including trauma counselors, cultural critics, and data scientists, strategically framing the case not merely as a personal dispute between two individuals, but as a larger issue concerning systemic power imbalances. an angle they believe will resonate strongly, particularly with younger audiences and women. They are bracing for what their lead attorney calls document dump season, preparing to aggressively subpoena records and depose key witnesses potentially connected to Sharpe's circle, including seeking testimony from individuals who may have attended a private Miami after-party on the disputed evening. The next major flashpoint looms on the calendar, a critical June evidentiary hearing specifically focused on compelling smartphone metadata from both parties. The judge's ruling in that hearing could significantly shift the case's momentum based purely on whose timeline the cold, hard digital data ultimately supports. With trust seemingly non-existent and mediation therefore unlikely, the path appears increasingly headed towards grueling, potentially explosive depositions, a process where every answer given under oath could become instant headline fodder, and quite possibly culminates in a sensational televised trial broadcast, gavel to gavel.
They make money by selling this.
That's my point.
So if you, please believe, you're paying for it. You're paying for it one way or another.
This saga has undeniably ballooned into far more than just another celebrity lawsuit. It represents a volatile collision of fame, fortune, deeply serious accusations, aggressive counter-accusations, and the unpredictable, often overwhelming dynamics of modern media saturation. A private encounter, the specific details of which remain fiercely contested, has metastasized into a multi-million-dollar proxy war waged over fundamental questions of truth, power, consent, and perception, all playing out under the relentless, unforgiving glare of the global public spotlight. Whether you currently lean towards believing Shannon Sharpe's vehement claims of extortion and fabrication, or find the accuser's narrative of coercion and intimidation more compelling, the only real certainty at this stage is continuing uncertainty. Evidence will inevitably clash with carefully crafted spin, reputations will continue to be attacked and defended with increasing ferocity, and the financial and emotional toll on everyone involved will undoubtedly continue to mount. Ultimately, this case serves as a stark, unfolding reminder that in our current age of instantaneous viral outrage and trial by social media commentary, the already blurry line between the pursuit of genuine justice and the creation of public spectacle can become almost indistinguishable, leaving the definitive, objective truth frustratingly elusive long after the trending hashtags inevitably fade away. The challenge now, for observers and potentially future jurors alike, is to patiently watch how verifiable facts, meticulously presented evidence, not just emotionally charged memes or selectively edited clips, ultimately shape the final outcome of this deeply troubling and profoundly complex confrontation.